In Q4 of 2023, I generated $156,936.23. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it step by step. Now, before we get started, this video is for any high ticket business owner, right? I'm talking like coaches, consultants, if you're selling B2B SaaS, agency owners, etc. This training is for you. Now, if anyone's wondering, like, okay, how did you do it? What did you sell exactly? I'm going to break that down. So, by doing this and by selling it the way that I did it, I'm going to, show you everything, a peek behind the curtains. But by doing everything the way that I did, I was able to do this 100% without VC money. I bootstrapped the whole entire thing. I didn't have a website yet. I didn't even have a real product created yet. As a matter of fact, we just built the website way a couple $100,000 into the business. So if you think that you need a website to get more clients, it's not true. You need a funnel, and I'm going to break down why you need funnels. So we had this concept, we had this idea, right? After going out into the marketplace and seeing what people are needing help with, and trying and testing different things, I arrived to the hypothesis that what people really want is to figure out how to monetize AI. And if you're able to show them how they can actually make money from AI, AI tools, ChatGPT, automation, they're going to want to learn more. So as a test, I did the AI business bootcamp. And in this 3-day bootcamp, it was basically to show them how to create sales mechanisms that didn't really require to do a bunch of phone calls. And then I showed them how to do all the tools and systems, AI tools and automations that they would need, and even the AI tools that they would need in order to grow this business. They had a sales offer in place. And then lastly, I showed them how to drive traffic, right? So the boot camp was just a preliminary rounds for testing the idea that people actually do want to learn how to monetize AI and how to monetize, how to build a business a little bit more automated and that works more towards helping them have better lifestyles. So when I started proving that concept out by having the boot camp and enrolling people in the boot camp. I then started surveying the people that were enrolling, right? I started surveying the paying clients, and the boot camp wasn't expensive. It was like $47. I might have done a $27 pre-sale, then $47, and it wasn't expensive, but I got a lot of data from people because then I started asking them, what do you do for work? What are you working on? What's your biggest challenge? And I found really quickly that a lot of them were trying to figure out how to make money from AI and how to actually monetize their business. They were getting some traction on LinkedIn, but they had no idea how to turn into cash. And they were all focused on trying to build a website when that was not what they actually needed. So when the boot camp actually happened, it was usually it's about 2 weeks of signups, and then the boot camp happens live, and then during the boot camp, this is now my opportunity to upsell them into a higher ticket offer. So what I did is I realized that one of the biggest problems is a lot of coaches and programs, they tell you how to do it, but they don't actually help you do it. And I also realized that they all tell you all the tools that you need, but no one puts it right in front of you. So what I did that was different and what allowed me to actually enroll a lot of people into this program is I figured out how to use AI and automation to help with client fulfillment so that I could offer a done for you solution. And now I had a done for you solution and I paired them with my own SaaS platform, which now enabled me to not only get clients on the coaching done for you fulfillment side, but now I'm getting monthly recurring revenue while building my SaaS, right? So, and that's exactly what I did. I left the pages up if you guys want to check it out. Really quick, if you want a copy of this document, comment below the word guide and I will send this to you and you can click through all the links and whatever. But that's how I did it. So I started posting on LinkedIn. The content that I was posting on LinkedIn, it was strategically to bring people to these things, essentially, mainly to the boot camp, because I knew once I had people in the boot camp, I could I could actually transition them into our higher ticket offer without having to get on sales calls. So that's what I did. I just prioritized how can I leverage my activities in the best efficient way possible that doesn't require me to work like a slave for the business, right? Especially as business owners, whether you're a solopreneur or whatever the case is, you really have to leverage your time. So if I know that I have to make sales to generate funding for the business, I decided to do it during the boot camp so that in this case, I can essentially onboard clients in bulk, right? Because once you have everyone in boot camp, you do the pitch to the whole group, and then the whole group now has the opportunity to upsell. And what I did is I created a fast action bonus that expired 48 hours after the boot camp. So I literally, the people that wanted to sign up were going to sign up in that 48-hour window. And again, I did that on purpose because I know that if people don't take action right away, they procrastinate and then they never take action. So I incentivize them by having that 48 action bonus. Now, because I started posting more and more content around these subjects and tools and systems and automation, I had businesses, tools reach out to me and ask to sponsor some content. So just to be transparent, I probably generated around 10, maybe 15K at most from influencer marketing, but it's not like something that I went to seek out on. I just something that naturally started coming to me. Excuse me, something that started naturally coming to me. And once I realized that we were generating more income from here than from the branded posts, I stopped accepting a lot of the campaigns. So how did I actually sell it? Right. So, for example, here's the post where I said start your AI consulting business with $0, blah blah blah, and then here I said P.S. join the bootcamp. Right. So this is exactly what I did. I posted content that was relevant to the bootcamp, created awareness about these problems, and then solved it by saying, give them a little tidbits, and then saying, if you want to learn more, join the bootcamp. And it's a $47 ask, so it's not that big of a deal. People will do it. And then once people join, I actually surveyed them. Like you can see here, I actually surveyed people. I asked them, like what are their challenging one? What do they actually want? Do they want a course? Do they want a membership? Like what is it that people want? And once you have data, you can build on that data, right? So once I had validated the idea, essentially I validated the idea with market research that I did. I built and I pre-sold the AI Business Accelerator. So I got funding for the accelerator before I even built it because I pre-sold it. And I told the people that signed up, like, hey, we are going to do this. We're going to do this as a cohort, and it'll start like 2 or 3 weeks after they actually paid, right? So that we can actually make sure that everyone's enrolled and ready to go at the same time. So at this stage, all I really needed was an offer, a product page with a payment processing link or capability, and one automated email going out saying, hey, congrats, you're in. Please stay tuned for next steps. The program starts October 15th or whatever, right? So during that's first of all, like that is literally how simple it can be when you're getting started. Now during the actual boot camp, like I said, I made the offer, I upsold a bunch of clients in bulk, I sold it as a cohort. That was on purpose because I wanted to have control over the product development. So I didn't want to have a bunch of random clients coming in at different times. I wanted to make sure that I controlled the environment so I could study how our clients were going through the materials, how they were sending us the content for the done for you pieces, and I could determine patterns of if this is actually going to be scalable or not. Right. So in a way, they funded the product development and they also funded the market research because by working with them, it allowed us to create a better model. It allowed us to create, a way simpler client onboarding section. It allowed us to automate the entire agency fulfillment component so that done for you really became 95% done by AI and 5% actually done by a human. So we had to do all of these things, and the only way that we could do it without, putting our hairs on fire is by having controlled growth. So we capped it, right? Now, in terms of product fulfillment, like I said, we started this about 2 to 3 weeks later, so that gave us enough time to put all the initial steps in place. And at this stage, my job now became to always be at least one week ahead of where they needed to be, in terms of like the deliverables and everything promised. And it's basically by doing this, it allows us to grow as we go. And if we're always like just one step ahead or a couple steps ahead, it also allows you to be more efficient, right? You can build, you can test in real time. The people that are being onboarded, they know that they're building this with you. They know that it might get a little rocky, but that's also why they signed up to pay a founder's rate, right? Like when you sell this, I probably skipped this step, but when you do offer this and you offer your pre-sale, you want to give them a beta test. You want to give them a founder's rate, and the founder's rate is going to be at least 50% off of what your intended price is. And the reason for that is because they're going to go through the growing pains with you. So they have to be okay with that. They have to be aware that that's what's going to happen, just to keep things transparent, just to set client expectations. And a lot of times people will do it to either support you or because they know they're getting a really good deal, right? So yeah, my job at this stage just became always be 1 week ahead. Now, once I was done with the first initial build, now I onboarded a second cohort. I had to test out the tweaks. I had to test out, how scalable really is this. I had to pressure test it. And at the same time, OpenAI decided to release GPTs, which made our process so much easier, but it was very, very rocky transitioning the cohorts. Even though we were simplifying the whole thing, it now, that period for me at least, it became a little rocky because I had to keep up with helping the clients while revamping the product so that it's easier and streamlined for everyone. In order to do this, it pretty much took the winter break, holiday break, to do this transition, and which meant that now I extended all the beta testers. I gave them additional free time and everything, and support and everything, so that they could actually leverage the use of our now simplified and way better process of using the GPTs to make their jobs so much easier to delivering it what we need to build their funnels and their systems and their automations. So that's what we did. And of course, if you're giving people extra time and you're giving them a way superior product, no one is really going to be upset, right? If anything, the feedback that we got was like, wow, this was like a really good update. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We didn't get any negative feedback. Maybe we might have received like one email saying, like, I feel it's a little unorganized, but we had to explain, yes, keep going down this path, or give us a couple of weeks to finalize the update, right? But again, people knew that this was the founders rate. People knew that they're getting a special deal. So once you explain it to people and you're transparent, everything's okay. Regardless of the situation, this allowed us again to take all that feedback and turn it into something easier. The second that we heard someone say, I'm confused, I don't know what to do next, tutorial, guide, SOP, handbook, accountability forms, like all these different things started popping up to help our clients go through the process a lot easier and simpler. Again, leveraging AI and automation. So, number one thing is, like, from this whole experience is listen to your clients' feedback, right? If they are happy, they'll let you know. If they're upset, they'll let you know. So take all of that feedback and build on that and iterate on that, because everything can always be fixed. But if you're not willing to fix it, you're going to have a really bad product, and people are not going to be happy working with you or your service, and you're not going to get clients, you're not going to get referrals. So you always got to do right by your customers, right? Especially your beta testers, because they trusted you. They took the leap of faith to work with you. Now, in terms of sales process, my sales process honestly is really not that complicated. I did organic lead generation, which means that I just posted content to generate leads. And if you're thinking like, okay, but how do you actually do it? I don't have a big audience. That's fine. To be 100% honest, you don't need an audience to start. You will build the audience for being active, but you do not need an audience to start. As a matter of fact, my first 100K that I ever made online, I started with 400 followers on Instagram, no presence on LinkedIn, and less than 1,500 friends on Facebook. So I understand completely what it is to not have an audience, and everybody that has an audience and has a business has built from zero. So, that doesn't set you apart. It doesn't make you special that you don't have audience or you don't have anything, because literally every single person has started at that point, right? So if anything, that should empower you to grow as you go. And for example, this is really important because I posted, in that quarter, I generated about 656,000 impressions. Um, and to put it in comparison, I did hire a a LinkedIn ads agency, and I didn't get any clients really for this, but after the first cohort, I tested it, right? And I said, okay, I have a second boot camp coming up. I have a second cohort. I want to drive a little bit more traffic to it. Let's try this whole ad thing. I spent around 2K for the campaign, for the ad agency to manage the whole thing, and I spent about $1,300, so like $3,300 in for 3 conversions, which means that I got $150 back from this. So yeah, $3,300. I got $150 back. So I'm negative 31. I'm negative like $3,100 right now for this whole thing. In the process, I generated 66,000 impressions, as you can see here. but when you compare it to organic content, I did 10x that for absolutely free. So, you know, so yeah, each conversion cost me around $432, meaning I lost approximately $397 per lead on the front end. I know you can usually monetize in the back end, but in this case, those three didn't convert to the high ticket offer. So what I wanted to draw attention to is that you don't need ads to start. I know it's a huge misconception, but if you compare my organic traction, I generated 10 times more impression and $157 in revenue without having to run ads, right? I literally generated $157,000 in revenue without having to run ads. I also saved about $12,000 in ad spend if I would have ran ads for the same amount of impressions at this penny per impression, right? Not conversion, impression. So, had I run ads to get the same amount of eyeballs on my offer, I would have had to spend another 12K in ad spend and still not guarantee that I was going to have the same amount of conversions that I did from my organic traffic, which is why organic traffic is so much more important. Now, in terms of organic cold email, I know a lot of people, in comparison to cold email, I know a lot of people play a lot of emphasis on this, and it's amazing. I don't knock down cold email, but it does take a process to get started. And when you're the business owner, sometimes you just don't have enough time to do everything. So, last year I hired an cold email service provider. He charged me about 3K, basically three K just to test the audience. He framed it to me. He was like, "It probably don't know if you'll get bookings from this. Don't know if it'll land, but," and I said, "Okay, sure, let's just test it, right?" And then nothing came from it, so I said, "Okay, it could be the audience, it could be the cold email, whatever." A couple weeks later, I ran into someone else, and now this person charged me 8K to get started. It was a 5K setup fee, I think. Well, the thing is that this was supposed to happen in like Q4. The campaign didn't actually start till this year, right? So like a couple weeks ago. And I'm not complaining or anything. I know that this person is like one of the best, if not probably the best in cold email right now. But it just goes to show that when you start delegating things, sometimes it falls out of your control. You can control your content, you can control your offers, you can control your how you post and how you operate. But when you start delegating things, now if your plan was to solely wait on cold email and you had an experience similar to mine where I had to wait 3 months for my campaign to finally launch, and now we're finally launched and now we're finally starting to get some traction, right? I would have wasted a whole Q4, like months to get you set up and months to get you going, which in turn slows down the growth of your business. So posting content is free. You have control. It's up to you to post the content. And at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not complaining about these cold email service providers. At the end of the day, like, they're still amazing friends. They're still helping me out. They're still, I'm really excited to be working with them. But the other thing to mention is that it took startup capital to actually be able to launch this cold email, like, right? I could have done it. It would still cost some startup capital because you need the domains and all these different tools and all these different things, right? So regardless of how you see it, if you're doing cold email, it's still not free. You're still gonna have to pay for softwares. Now, because I used organic content and the whole bootcamp strategy that I mentioned, we were able to generate 95% no sales calls, meaning that like we did have a couple of sales calls, people that were just asking to confirm if it's a good fit for them, figure out special payment plans, whatever it is. And the rest of the sales of that like 157K, it was pretty much all done through content, sales funnels, automations outside of LinkedIn, and basically doing a boot camp every 6 weeks. So the key here is don't sell multiple things at once. You don't need multiple offers. You don't need a website. You don't need that. You need a sales funnel. You need one offer. You need to prove the offer, and then you need to scale that offer up. Every time you introduce a new offer, you have to start building from scratch. So just focus on one offer, one problem, one pain point, one target audience. That's literally as simple as it is. Thanks for watching that video. If you would actually like our help with starting, growing, or scaling your business and adding AI and automation to it so the whole process just becomes easier, then go ahead and schedule a call below. Just to set expectations, this can, depending on the level of service that you need, it can be anywhere from $500 a month all the way through $5,000 a month. It really just depends on how much of our involvement you would like for your business. And in terms of who it's for and all of that. So if you're a high ticket business owner, like a coach, consultant, SaaS business owner, agency owner, whatever it is, that's probably going to be like the best, our best clients. In terms of how fast we can get you up and running, again, it depends on where you are in your business. With people that have already established businesses, we've gotten them up and running really fast and they've seen results fast. In terms of people that are just starting, it takes a little bit of time for those type of people to actually explore and find their offer and find their footing. So those people will take a little bit longer to see results. Now, if this is something that you're trying to figure out if you want to do this sooner rather than later, then please schedule a call with us and let's chat and let's explore if we can help. There's no pressure. But if this is something that you actually want to figure out 6 months down the line, a year down the line, just again, just to set expectations because we do have high requests and all of this, we just ask that if it's a later type of thing, you can follow us on YouTube, you can join the boot camp, become more familiar, follow us through content. And when you're ready to have that discussion, then we're more than able to help. But right now we're just looking for people that are actually looking to take action and make a change within the next week, 2 weeks, even the next 30 days. Right? So go ahead and schedule a call below and we'll see you on the call.